by reducing the capex and converting some of the capex towards OpEx. And this is something that is unique to KRYPT. We have put together a pricing model that allows the customer over a period of 3 to 5 years retain the same TCO, if not lower, but convert some of the pricing into capex versus OpEx, and giving the flexibility therein. Again, from the tenure perspective, we were thinking about a 3, 5, and 7-year contracts. The ideal would be 5 years to get the most benefit out of this pricing structure, but we can do 3 years and 7 years as well, and we can always give you some more information if that's what you're looking for. So how does this all tie into what Bruce talked about earlier on in an ideal solution, what customers are looking for? So as I mentioned, the time to deploy is fairly less compared to a traditional on-premise solution, and of course the flexibility of choosing bundles and the subsections under these bundles to identify quick wins for each customer. This gives you the fast ROI that an ideal solution should have. We have pre-configured GTS content that reduces the deployment time considerably. KRYPT is also has a certified RDS solution. We will be leveraging those RDS solutions in deploying these functionalities to make sure that your time to deploy is as lean as possible, and you get the fastest ROI on your fastest ROI. As I mentioned before, in our pricing structure, one of the biggest challenges that customers have been facing is the capital expenditures versus OpEx, and this cloud offering gives that flexibility to the customer to decide how they structure their pricing model, and KRYPT is flexible in regards to that as well, to a certain extent, and that's how we have achieved that aspect of an ideal solution. Security, I showed you, and I can share some more. There's a slide, an additional slide with this slide deck that will be shared with all the participants, which talks about the security, IP security, and data encryption, and the overall structure of the data centers that we have identified for this solution, making it highly secure with VPN accesses, as I said, client-to-site as well as site-to-site VPNs that ensure data security, because I understand that's one of the major concerns that trade organizations for every customer, for most customers have, is the security of their data, and we've made sure that is achieved with our offering. Bruce also mentioned that a solution needs to be adaptable, and I think I've covered that area as well, again with on-demand enhancements with respect to functionality. So solution bundles are structured in a way where you could enhance or make quick enhancements to your existing deployed solution as your business needs change, as your business network changes, and these can be put into place fairly quickly without impacting your current functionality in place. Quick wins. With a time to deploy of 1 week, I believe the SPL and embargo, it's the biggest quick win for me from this. With leveraging KRYPT's RDS, we can achieve that fairly quickly, and not just for that piece, but even going forward, if there's complex functionality with our pre-built content, we can actually reduce the time to deploy for most of those, all of the functionality, and that's one of the biggest aspects of this solution offering. The managed services piece, as I elaborated a little bit on each of these sections, the content updates, the regulation, and the software or even the infrastructure upgrade or update support. That is something that is included as an offering in this solution. I believe it's tremendous value to the solution offering, because then the customers don't need to worry about a lot of those things. And of course, these won't be forced down the customer. It'll be left to the customer to choose what kind of upgrades and updates that they are interested in. If they are interested in a certain new functionality that comes out with a service pack, we can deploy that for you quickly. Usually, what happens is on an on-premise solution, the customers have kind of a year-end update policy where each year they identify certain patches or upgrades or updates, and then they have to plan around it. But with this cloud offering, that's something that you don't need to wait for, because it's something that is going to be taken care of by internal KRYPT resources that we have put in place for support, wherein you can quickly access the added or the new functionality that comes out with an upgrade or an update or service pack without having to worry about how it impacts your other systems in place. And that's, I think, another important advantage that you get from any solution on the cloud, not just this one, but this one has that offering as well. Scalable. Bruce mentioned that an ideal solution needs to be scalable, and I think we have achieved that aspect of our cloud offering pretty well. As you can see from the solution bundles, but that's just about functionality. But what about infrastructure? Businesses go through so many changes, acquisitions, mergers, which suddenly impact their volumes, their transaction volumes, their user base, and everything. How do you scale up to that quickly? And I think nothing that's better than a cloud offering because of all the resources that are available. And we can talk a little bit about private or public cloud, but basically, this solution has been designed in a way where it is highly scalable. You can add not just hardware resources, but also functionality fairly quickly by choosing certain functionalities in the bundles, or simply communicating the change in volumes or the change in the user base, and we can accommodate that fairly quickly. So how does the customer come into the picture in all of this? And I believe there has to be customer involvement in this to a large extent, but it is not as much as a traditional on-premise deployment. What we're looking for is as part of the deployment, we will have to assign an owner of the solution from the customer who takes responsibility for this and works with the KRYPT team, solution and the infrastructure teams in identifying the needs and requirements for that solution. This owner can be IT or business or both. The business team members also will need to be involved in identifying the scope of the deployment to make sure that their immediate needs or their quick wins are identified, and make sure that we are choosing the right solution roadmap for the customer. And I think one of the most important areas is the testing piece, where we will need the customer to engage in certain testing cycles to make sure that their solution does provide the necessary level of functionality, as well as comfort, as well as training, as well as users' acceptance levels to make sure that the solution is the right fit for their teams. After the implementation, there will be ongoing involvement and engagement from the customer as well to do continuous improvements. What we are offering with this piece, it's part of the managed services, where we will be engaging with the customer to provide continuous improvements based on SAP's best practices. And not just that, we will share with the customers our experiences that we get from other customers on how they can improve their trade organizations, or by adding either functionality or processes. So there's a lot of knowledge sharing that will happen after the implementation. It's not simply start using and that's the end of the story and you're stuck with what you have. There will be a continuous improvement plan in place where we will work with you in ensuring that you are completely satisfied with the solution in place, and have some kind of a roadmap in place to make sure that the solution adapts and changes and scales to the business needs of your trade organization. I want to mention what will be the next steps if when a customer chooses a cloud versus on-premise or